All right, do you have the basic right to digital free speech or digitally organized assembly? Well, it's something we've been asking as we've seen these riots go on in UK and have seen UK leaders ask if they can stop people using social media and their cell phones to prevent possible crimes. Sounds a lot like the authoritarian tactics that Western democracies would usually decry. But what do you know? They're already doing it in the U.S. To stop a planned protest yesterday, authorities were worried about a flash mob. The train system, it's known as the BART, in San Francisco, turned off cell phone service. They turned it off. Cell phone companies complied. So what are Americans' First Amendment rights in this age of social media protests? Here to help us figure this out is Declan McCullough. He's correspondent at CNET. Thanks so much for talking to us about this. So this is the kind of thing, Declan, that the United States would decry about, say Iran in 2009 when they were clogging cell phones to stop protests there. Does it surprise you that this happened in the United States?
It's a little surprising. It does leave the local San Francisco city government open to charges of hypocrisy. I mean, you can imagine the Egyptian government saying, well, now look, the United States does it too. I live in the San Francisco Bay Area. I take our subway, it's called the BART, to work occasionally, and it'd be nice to know what's going on here. I don't think we have all the facts yet. This just came out in the last few hours, but what we do know isn't really that heartening. They didn't even ask the providers if they could, AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, etc. There are 4 of them that have relationships with BART. They just turned off the electricity to the small cell towers inside the BART stations without even giving them notice. And so this is a unilateral decision by a government agency, and I'd like to get to the bottom of this and know what exactly was going on, who made this decision.
Is it that simple that just, in one report it was saying that the media relations of BART decided to just go ahead and turn off service? Is it that simple that essentially anyone can just say, hey, let's cut the cord?
This is what we're finding out is the case in San Francisco, which this San Francisco Bay Area gave birth to the free speech movement of the 1960s, and now it looks like we're giving birth to the anti-free speech movement of this decade. It's worrisome, and it does raise First Amendment issues. This isn't something the courts have grappled with. This isn't something I think any government agency until now has grappled with, because phones, cell phones, mobile devices can act in 2 different ways. They can both be the instrumentalities of a crime if they're used to, say, do some violent things, or used to organize a flash mob that engages in property damage, or it can also be used as a First Amendment protected activity. They can be used to get the word out about police brutality during a protest. So it depends on which metaphor you use, and the cops are going to say it's the second. The second is invalid, that is. This isn't something we've dealt with before here, and I hope that people pay attention and start asking questions.
Absolutely. I mean, is this kind of a new terrain? I heard someone else, an analyst, saying that she couldn't really find precedents for this happening. Is this kind of a gray area where all of a sudden freedom of speech can be easily limited in the United States?
Right. Let's take this a step further, and to build on your analogy, and let's say you have some protest, and the police are acting illegally. They're maybe beating up protesters. Maybe they're even shooting some protesters. And to stop people from getting the word out, to stop people from documenting this live and video, the police pull the plug on local cell phone service. This is something that is worrisome if it's done for the wrong reasons. I think it's worrisome even if it's done for the best reasons, the so-called right reasons. This isn't something that we are used to as Americans, with government agencies saying you don't have the power to speak freely because we think it's inconvenient for us. That's not the way it works. They work for us. We don't work for them.
Absolutely. And the excuse being made that, this is to prevent possible public safety problems, I mean, that's so preemptive. What's more important, the threat to public safety that could or could not happen, or individual rights and civil liberties like freedom of speech?
Right. It elevates police convenience over individual rights and the Bill of Rights. And there's also the flip side of this. I mean, what happens if someone, and this could well have happened, we don't have all the details yet, remember, this just happened in the last day. What happens if someone's on a subway platform and has a medical emergency, or is getting attacked by a mugger and wants to call 911? Well, hey, your cell phone isn't working.
Yeah, it's the flip side that we don't really know. But thank you so much for bringing us the latest. I'm so sorry we're out of time. I know that this has just now come out, and we will wait to see what details emerge, but it definitely is shocking as we've been talking about what's going on in the UK. Could it come here as far as limiting social media? And it's already happening. We'll have to wait and see what the extent is and what the fallout is. That was Declan McCullough, correspondent at CNET News.